It was 1924 in the small southern town of Fairmont, Alabama, where life moved slowly under the hot sun and people's minds seemed as unchanging as the dirt roads. The sun was setting when Ruth stepped out of her family's farmhouse, her simple cotton dress swaying gently in the breeze.
She had been meeting Samuel for nearly a year now, an entire year of stolen glances and whispered conversations.
Samuel worked as a farmhand on the Emersons' estate, just across the cotton fields, and from the moment Ruth first saw him, she felt something she couldn't quite explain.
They had crossed paths near the Emersons' barn that day, and his kind eyes, set in a face darkened by long days in the sun, had held hers just a second too long.
From that moment on, she looked for him everywhere, in town, at church, in the fields. When they did speak, it was in places out of view, mostly near the old magnolia tree that stood tall and solitary in a hidden clearing just off the Emerson estate.
Under its thick canopy, they would sit for hours, talking in whispers, their fingers brushing as they spoke about the small dreams they had.
Ruth longed to become a teacher, to bring reading and writing to children like herself, and Samuel wanted to own a small plot of land where he could live and work in peace. But theirs was a love born in the shadows.
Ruth's father was a firm believer in the so-called proper order of things, and he would never tolerate his daughter's love for a black man.
And Samuel?
He knew the dangers of the world they lived in too well. He'd seen a friend run out of town for far less, and his mother had warned him time and again to avoid trouble.
Despite everything, they continued to meet.
They laughed together and shared stories of their families, and in those brief, precious moments under the magnolia tree, they forgot the world outside. One night, when the moon was full and the stars blazed above, Samuel took Ruth's hand and told her he had saved enough money to leave Fairmont.
He wanted her to come with him, to a place where no one knew them, where they could live free from judgment.
But Ruth's heart was torn. Her parents depended on her, and in their world, leaving meant disgrace and disownment. They parted that night, but Ruth's heart stayed with Samuel.
For days afterward, she stayed close to home, sick with longing and regret.
Finally,